What's up and welcome to All Balls, the show that keeps you up to date with all the Premier League action, fantasy Premier League tips, and all major incidents in football. Just 47 days since the last Premier League game was played, amidst the coronavirus, the VAR, and fans not being allowed into stadiums. The Premier League, though, is back in record time, which promises to be yet another thrilling and exciting season. We are previewing all the games of match day 1. Remember, Manchester United, Manchester City, Burnley and Aston Villa are not involved this weekend. With me, beside me is Rahul Bell. How are you doing, Rahul? How
I'm
are you
good,
feeling?
thank you.
Are you excited for the season, even though you support United?
You asked me if I support United and if I'm excited for the season.
Yeah.
Guys, this is coming from an Arsenal fan who finished. Rohan?
Okay, that's cool.
I've-
But
have-
who's the Manchester United number 8?
The one and only.
Who the
Mata?
Guan Matas?
The Juan Mata.
That explains everything.
Speaking of 8th, this time you're first. How does it feel?
It feels great that we can actually see ourselves first on the table. I'm very excited for that. I mean, thank you Bournemouth for getting relegated and for letting Arsenal be right
That's
there.
harsh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you're first on the table. You think you can stay there? I mean, you're playing a relatively new side, Fulham coming in, but with a good record.
I don't think that we can stay there, let's be honest. But I think that our hope is to, somewhere from where the season starts and to the end of it, our hope, and every Arsenal fan wants to see us make the top 4 for sure.
I mean, you've gone on a good run. You've won 2 trophies back to back. Arteta's having a good time.
28 days.
28 days.
Yeah.
Aubameyang's having a good time.
Aubameyang, yeah.
I mean, but apart from Aubameyang, what is there to show for Arsenal? I mean, your Lacazettes, your Pepes.
I mean, look, it's not about the Lacazettes or the Pepes or anything. It's about the procedure and the process which, Mikel Arteta has, ever since he's come into Arsenal, it's taken a bit of time. But our first big win came against United in January, early in January, when United had not lost to any of the top 6. So I'm and we also, ended this season in a strong way. So I'm pretty confident. I'm looking forward for everybody in the team contributing. I think he's done well in getting his defensive signings, the people he wanted to, get. So I'm really excited, and I think that it's looking forward to Arsenal actually starting the season well. It's been 2-3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons, 2 under Wenger, 2 under Emery, that Arsenal haven't started well. Fixtures were tough, team was not ready. But this time I feel that we are, at least we are sorted to go in for the first 2 games. You have Fulham and then you have West Ham. Then we have Liverpool at Anfield. But that's fine. I mean, I'd go to Anfield without fans, and I'm pretty positive though.
Okay, biggest question. Where is Mesut Ozil? And
Mesut-
why? Why are you so adamant on getting Dani Ceballos in?
Mesut Ozil is back in training. I'm so happy he's back in training.
Is he under his umbrella?
I hope he buys a new umbrella for the wages he gets paid. So I'm hoping that he's going to be involved. Look, one thing we have to understand that everybody's saying that Mesut Ozil, where's Mesut Ozil, and he should go, and I also agree. But try and understand, the player's now on the last year of his contract. He's 31, 32. He's definitely not done with football. I feel that if you can't sell him, play him, because this is the time he has to prove himself for another contract.
And he's not played for so long.
It's fine. It's not like he's forgotten football.
But will he fit in this side?
Absolutely. Why would Mesut Ozil?
Why isn't he being played? Why are you bringing in a Dani Ceballos? You have an El Nani, a Xhaka, a Torreira, a Gunduzi. You have all these players. Where will you play a Mesut Ozil?
No, you have to play always a Mesut Ozil only in the hole, in the number 10 position. That's his only position. The only thing is that Mesut Ozil, I don't think, was not in the team because of footballing reasons. He was not in the team probably because of other things which were happening around him, which were happening with the wages and the wage cut, whether he accepted the wage cut or not. There were 1,000 different things which were surrounding him at that time. But now it's good to see him back in the squad, because see, whether he plays or he doesn't play, that's not important, right? The important thing is that the entire team is together and has a common objective for this season. And I think it's high time that Arsenal now get into the top 4.
I mean, speaking of players who have things going on around them, I mean, David Luiz is going to have Mitrovic going around him.
Yeah.
Fabulous record, 26 goals last
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
and a bully.
Yeah, and a
you
bully.
think David Lewis will be able to handle him? You think an Arsenal will be able to handle him because you all have not been good in the box against aerial balls, set pieces.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Arsenal have always had an issue with that out and out number 9 who can head the ball and who head the ball on target rather. And we've always genuinely we used to have the biggest problem with Drogba because he was one of those. But
And
obviously
Costa.
his quality is much more than Mitrovic. But yeah, I think it's important to see how David Luiz really starts the season. And last time he gave 5 penalties in the entire season. That was a joke. That's absolute nonsense.
Did
And
Bruno come up to take them?
well, we don't have a Bruno, and we are not Manchester United to be so lucky to come third because of the VAR being introduced.
You're so cute. I mean, isn't he cute?
Yeah.
So our next game, Southampton versus Crystal Palace. Southampton, great end to the season. Crystal Palace, not so much.
Yeah, Crystal Palace have always been one of those teams in which they always wait, and then start fighting at some point mid-season or early in January or something just to survive, and somehow they've never built on the fact that they've been surviving year on year and year, and they are in the Premier League. Exactly. I mean, they are getting the monies to spend just like other teams, but something's up with Crystal Palace in which you just never since the last 3 seasons it's about Zaha and Ayew. That's the only thing. And then once in a while there's like a Christian Benteke who never scores, but
Or
his
a Townsend will pop up with a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Or Milivojevic who takes all their pens. He's pretty good. Yeah.
But I mean, Southampton, Danny Ings, lots of goals last season.
Lots.
You have an Armstrong contributing to those goals. You have a Nathan Redmond over there.
Yeah.
So they look good. You have a Shea Adams coming off the bench.
Yeah.
That attacking power is good.
Man, I think that Southampton's biggest strength is Ralph Hasenhüttl. I think that he's that manager who, when I see him, I feel that the guy runs 20 kilometers every morning and comes so pumped that if you are playing for his team, you better be on the same level. Otherwise,
Stand
you cannot
with a
play.
stick behind you.
Yeah, and Danny Ings. Danny Ings has been phenomenal. He's got the England call up once again. He looks in absolute. What he's done for Southampton, being in a squad like Southampton is just phenomenal. I think he's a world-class striker.
I think he's done enough to, get a call-up for England.
Yeah.
Also, it's about not the amount of goals he scored, but it's how he scored them and at the times he scored them.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good amount of goals. He's got some quality goals. So, I don't see Crystal Palace getting away with this one.
Yeah, I know. Although, Crystal Palace have signed Eberechi Eze, who's supposed to be their number 10 and, have more link-up plays with Zaha and with Ayew. So we have to see how that one goes. But I definitely think that Eberechi will offer something going forward for Crystal Palace, much more than what it was before. They'll have a plan to get the ball into Zaha. They'll probably get Zaha a little more forward. He's always, lurking on the wings. So maybe that. And obviously, I really hope that Ayew gets many more goals than what he's done last season, because I think he's really looked good on the pitch, but his stats don't really, live up to that expectation. Yeah.
I just hope his football is not as complicated as his name. Moving on to the big one, Rohan. Leeds on your t-shirt.
Leeds, marching on together. Come on. So here's the thing, right? I've studied in Leeds. I was studying there, doing my masters over there for some time. I also happened to be a steward at the Headingley Stadium, the cricket stadium, and also at the Leeds Rhinos Stadium. And I have to tell you one thing, that any atmosphere in Leeds, it's a small town, right? And the love and the passion is so much that it is such a hostile and fun atmosphere. Also, everybody has pims in their hands. I think it's just so nice to have Leeds back after 16 years in the Premier League. They've almost seen everything in the last 2 decades. I'm so happy for them, and I really want them to establish themselves in the Premier League and be here for some time.
But to establish themselves, don't you think it's a complicated first game? Leeds versus Liverpool.
Absolutely, man. What can you even say about Liverpool? What a squad, what a team. Champions of England, Champions League winners last season. Liverpool is Liverpool. It's one of it's the best team rather in the division at the moment, consistently since the last 2-3 years. So it's a tough one for Leeds, but I think it'll be a great start for them. They'll understand what it was all about. They'll probably get familiar. So it's not bad, when you have. I would rather play the champions first game than play them in the 5th or 6th game when they are up and running.
Form, yeah.
Yeah.
But disappointed with Liverpool not doing too well in the transfer window this season.
Not disappointed, actually surprised. Because if you're already there, you have to keep being there. I mean, why do you not want to sign people? Like, think about, I think I'm speaking to Liverpool fans and they are like, we have the team and we have this, and some fans are like, no, we need to sign. I absolutely come from the thought that you need to sign the best players now to maintain that level. That's what Man City has done. Chelsea won the Champions League under Di Matteo and immediately signed Eden Hazard. So I see that there is a little bit of a lack of ambition right now with Liverpool. Although they have the best team and they are linked to
They have
Thiago.
a great squad there.
Yeah. But one or two injuries, and you tell me then what?
I mean, but they have replacements for each position. They have a great midfield. They have great wingers to replace Mane and Salah when required.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the fact that Liverpool don't have the quality. They have all the quality. I think 3 or 4 players were in the team of the year for Liverpool. So I'm not questioning their quality. But the thing is that at some point you need to replace the quality you have with either with quality coming in which is also hungry to win, because they've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League. I don't know what else is now going to motivate those players to play. I think one of the things that they are doing and the discussions which are going on are if they want to sign Thiago or no, they'll have to break their wage structure and their wage budget to sign him. So I think if they sign him, that's a great signing for them. But at the same time, I would look at Liverpool and I would say that why don't you strengthen? Why were you not into the other top players which Chelsea were into, which probably Manchester United won, Jadon Sancho?
They probably didn't fit, the Liverpool system.
No, I don't think that. You can say that about 1 or 2 players, but Liverpool's just not been linked to anybody at all for some matter.
They have links with Wijnaldum going out.
Yeah.
And Thiago coming in, but there's nothing else.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
They have Harry Wilson, who's back on loan. He's back from loan.
Yeah.
But he's also, I think, out with a minor injury.
I tend to think that Liverpool may sign a forward, depending on what happens with Ryan Brewster. I think he's their academy boy. He's really highly rated, and we'll have to see what happens with that. But it will be disappointing. And if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be disappointed if Liverpool does not sign anybody. I mean, to keep up to that level and to even think that you're going to win the Premier League again, you have to keep. It's not magic. You have to get the best players. So definitely. But tough game for Leeds. I think it's a Liverpool show altogether. And
so you've seen Leeds getting nothing out of this?
Not out of this. Bielsa is a great manager. He has his own way of doing things, but this is a tough one for Leeds.
Not even a point.
Not even a point.
First game of the season, novice teams. Don't think Leeds
Liverpool can take the 3 points. Leeds will win the Hearts, I'm sure.
Oh God, you're so Bollywood. Okay, West Ham Newcastle. Our next game in review.
Yeah.
Mikel Antonio for me. What an end to last season.
Man, Mikel Antonio for me is one of the most consistent players in any position he plays. He's played for West Ham. He's played at right back. He's played at right wing. He's played at left wing, and he's played at striker. He's done well everywhere. He's one of the most efficient players in a team like West Ham, and I think West Ham are so lucky to have him. And as soon as I would expect somebody like Antonio, some teams bidding for Antonio because he's damn efficient as a player.
But you think he will fit in a big club? I mean, great at West Ham, but if you put him in an Arsenal or a United, or even a Spurs for that matter.
Look, he probably won't fit in he won't probably fit in, but there are times these big clubs also need players to, fit in because of injuries or something like that. And I think he can be used anywhere on the pitch, Mikel Antonio, absolutely.
And Newcastle, on the other hand, signing the pair of Fraser and Wilson.
Yeah.
In quick succession.
Yeah.
Do you think that is going to make a difference? Because they have quite a few attacking players and strikers.
I think it's a great signing because honestly speaking, signing both of these guys combined. Now, if you see the stats that both of them in the last season have 12 combinations of goal or assist. That is probably the second best stat in the Premier League ever.
So who's going to take it?
I don't know. You see, the West Ham have Thomas Souček, who's again, I think it's going to be a tough game. Thomas Souček is one of those really hard-working midfielders who's really good defensively, who's phenomenal offensively. I think he came in after the restart. In 7 appearances, he ran like 78 kilometers, which is one of the highest, in the Premier League in terms of work rate. So, It's going to be a tough one. Although I think that West Ham might just nick this one because somehow every season with Newcastle they survive, but they seem like the most disjointed unit ever. So hence I say West Ham.
Is it because of David Moyes? Are you throwing a taunt?
No. I'm saying that in fact Newcastle is the disjointed team. I think David Moyes is he's there, he's rallying his troops. He's always on the edge, somehow gets through. So it's like that. I mean,
gets through are the keywords.
Yeah. You finished what under David Moyes?
Moving on.
No, 7th. Okay, sorry. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, that's probably one place above what you finished last season.
Well, that was our worst season ever, and we still won the FA Cup, and we still made Europe.
That was our worst season ever, also, I guess.
I don't know. I think that you'll have done worse. I think you'll do worse.
West Brom, Leicester.
West Brom, Leicester at the Hawthorns.
Another promoted
side. The Baggies
side.
are back. West Brom, Leicester. Leicester were in the top 4 for 325 days, of the last season. They couldn't make the top 4. They ran out of steam in the end.
To whom?
Towards the last season. To United. Fair enough, but it's not like that one game made all the difference.
It did.
No, if you see, they've not won too much after the restart. They won 2 or 3 games. They've not won. United.
Matter.
First of all, in that game, you all had 2 mistakes which got you all those goals. Hamza Chaudhary lost the ball, and I think their keeper also messed up.
Scoreline.
So, well, very good, very happy. I think you'll win the title this season.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But Leicester, I mean, what do you think? You think Vardy out of form last season?
Towards the end, yes, but also because Maddison has been injured. So Maddison being there in that team is so key. NDD was injured for some time.
Soyuncu was injured.
Pereira
was injured.
Soyuncu, Pereira, all these guys are out. So I hope that Brendan Rodgers can get the same thing, because honestly, it was amazing to watch Leicester play last season. In many of their games, in the beginning of the season, the free-flowing football, the attacking football was great, and I hope that they can take on from there. So and start the season again on a high. It'll be great to see that. But although I feel that this time still, due to a few injuries here and there, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. The Baggies again,
they have Premier League experience.
They have. They're back in the Premier League. I don't know really what to expect from West Brom, honestly, but I just feel that let's see. It's one of those games that you have to just figure out. You have to see that how West Brom are actually settling down in the Premier League again.
First surprise in the offering, you think? From a newly promoted side?
Possible. And that'll be so good, right? I mean, how interesting will it be if the Baggies just nick this one and Leicester really don't get things going? I mean,
But won't that put Brendan Rodgers under some scrutiny?
No, I don't think. It's too soon. The scrutiny and all that starts in November.
Lost third place, lost top 4, losing the first game to a newly promoted side.
I also feel for him, man. I think that, what can he do now if there were injuries in his squad? I mean, I honestly feel for him. I think that he was a bit unlucky. 351 day season, 325 days in the top 4. That proves consistency. Now, it's unfortunate what happened towards the end of the season, but come on.
Us happened.
Yeah, well. Moving on to Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton, probably the best fixture of this weekend, the most interesting one. 9 p.m. primetime fixture at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, they spent so much money, but they couldn't spend more money to get a copywriter to give them a name. What is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, first of all?
I have no idea. I judge that club because they are managed by that man. I just hate them. I hate him. I hate them. I don't understand the football he plays. I don't understand what he did. I mean, he is a serial winner, as he says in his show.
Yeah.
But, you have such a great attacking lineup.
I think we are, on the same page when it comes to Jose Mourinho. Can't stand him. I think, and obviously when it comes to Tottenham, I have no choice but to be on that page. What do we think about Tottenham? Anyway, we won't say it right now. But, okay. Spurs, what do you think, man?
Spurs, I feel, are a great team attackingly. They have the players.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to play with them because of this man.
Yeah.
I mean, he will sit back, absorb the pressure. Son, you have Dele Alli, you have Lucas Moura, Harry Kane, you have Bergwijn. you have players with pace, with skill.
Yeah.
On their day, they can destroy an opposition. I mean, they did it to Leicester.
Absolutely.
They killed that game within what, 13, 14 minutes?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
why would you still want to keep, your players back, hold them back, not allow them to play freely?
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about him being tactical and stuff like that. But what's the point of being tactical and not allowing your players to play when you have, one of the best strikers in England?
I think he slows down the game, doesn't it? Like
he slows it down. He brings that change in mentality. I mean, the
Yeah.
players, their first approach is to not concede, which is fine, but then they get stuck there.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously know that you need to keep clean sheets and stuff, but then you also need to score goals.
No, absolutely. I mean, Harry Kane has had contrasting seasons. He's scored 18 goals last season. Before that, he was a 24, 26 goal striker. Now, 18
you see
goals
the difference.
gets you to 6 just about. 24 and 26 goals probably gets you in the top 4. So, too much dependence on Harry Kane?
Too much, I feel.
Yeah.
Because one, he doesn't have enough service. I mean, players are too deep for him. He doesn't have the pace, or rather enough pace to get behind the last man.
Yeah.
So I just feel that, Son, Mora need to be up. They're usually defending.
Yeah, I mean, also, there's Bergwijn who is signed now, and we've not seen too much of Bergwijn.
Except for that one City goal and that one United goal, I don't think I've seen too much of him.
Yeah, but I think I'm actually pretty excited to see that how Bergwijn actually turns out to be, because he is one of those signings which you feel that if this guy gets going, he probably can. He has the physicality, he has the pace, he has, he probably has the strength the Premier League requires to play. So I'm actually looking out for Bergwijn in this.
I just hope he doesn't play him right wing back.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing Mourinho,
No,
he will
he's
do
got
that.
Doherty. He's got Matt Doherty.
He's got Doherty,
So, yeah.
yes. He's got Højbjerg now.
Yeah.
Which means,
Yeah.
Sissoko might have a tough time coming
Yeah.
in, though he's injured. And Ndombele, I feel, is someone who's been wasted. And they're okay defensively, but I think they will be sorted out by Everton, who have made some great additions.
Great additions.
I mean, James to play in those pockets.
Yeah.
You have Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison who've combined well. Calvert-Lewin's got a good amount of goals. So I don't know. Jose Mourinho's style, this does not appeal to me. It does not give me that feeling that they are going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Ancelotti on one side,
Yeah.
and you have this idiot on the other.
That's a good point, actually. And Ancelotti is attacking, and now
And Ancelotti he's done things. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that Jose Mourinho's won titles, Ancelotti hasn't.
Yeah.
They're up there with stature. They're up there with the players they have. I just have a feeling Everton has a better team mentality, a more attacking team mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't end the season off too well, but also it's pure hatred for Jose, and I do not like the way he plays football. I mean, I think he has a statement in All or Nothing which he says that, I have players in this team which I didn't have at Manchester United. I mean, what do you want?
No. I think that he was just brought in so that All or Nothing could be made. I don't think that Pochettino was like the favorite guy for All or Nothing.
I mean,
I think he's been
he was brought in because he was probably the only one available.
Yeah, and who speaks English.
And who was sacked. He also said that the last common things he had was he was sacked.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So, I mean, I don't know. I see Everton running away with this one, though it's a bold call. But I still feel maybe a 2-0 or a 2-1.
No, but how do you think that the signings of Doucouré and of James and obviously of Allan will help? Do you think it will help like Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison to be a little more
Doucouré
free?
for me is probably a poor man's Yaya Toure. He is a box to box. He muscles his way through.
Yeah.
He's got a few goals. He creates them. You've seen that.
No, absolutely. I think a couple of seasons ago, I would have taken Doucouré at Arsenal. He is one of those guys again.
He's a peach.
If you compare him, little bit on the similar lines like Thomas Souček of West Ham.
Yeah.
He is that work rate is phenomenal.
Yeah, but again, why I compare him to Yaya Toure is because he
You're right.
bulldozes his way through.
Yes.
I mean, he will get you the goals. He'll get you the important goals. He can defend. Allan can defend. You have James in the pockets. You have Calvert-Lewin. You have Richarlison.
Yeah.
For pace, you have Bernard. You have Walcott.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have a Luca Dean running on the left. You have a Sidibe or a Coleman on the right.
On the right, yeah.
So, I
absolutely.
mean, that is something Mourinho will have to deal with.
Yeah.
A Højbjerg, while he's great with the ball, strength, I'm not really sure how fast he is. They will miss Sissoko. Harry Winks again lacks pace. And I feel that, even though they're at home, Spurs is going to sit back and everything is going to attack.
That is so irritating to watch all the
A home
time.
game.
And those players, more than a home game, those players. Anyway, I think that, I think that it's going to be a draw. Somehow Jose always, somehow gets
Everton
the result.
victory.
I don't know how he does it, but he just gets the result. Defensive, fair.
It's irritating.
Yeah. Moving on to the Monday night fixture between Brighton and Chelsea. What a game that is. Chelsea, under Frank Lampard's second season, what have they done in the transfer market, man?
I want to become a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that. I do not want to become a Chelsea fan. But I think he's done a fab job.
I know.
He's filled in all the gaps. Rather, most of the gaps. I still feel maybe another, which is being a little too selfish. But I still feel that
they've just signed 5 top players.
6.
They've got Malang Sarr, he's a youngster who's come in. He's gone on loan also. They are looking to sign a keeper. They are talking about Declan Rice. I mean, I as an Arsenal fan, and them being a club in London, our rivals, I feel that why can't Arsenal do this? Why can't we go out and sign 5 or 6 top players like this? I mean, think about it. Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner. What is that?
I mean, Thiago Silva for me is the pick of the bunch. I just feel, yes, free transfer. Yes, I know he's old, but he's a leader. I mean, you look at the World Cup.
Yeah.
One game Thiago Silva goes missing and there is a shootout in Brazil.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you bring that up because of David Luiz?
yes, also. I mean,
there's
a Thiago Silva, Brazil's playing well. There's no Thiago Silva, there's a David Luiz, Brazil gets dry humped. I mean,
no, I understand what you're
he's
saying.
He's a leader. Chelsea did not have a leader.
I understand that, and all this is done. I agree. But David Luiz, Arsenal bought David Luiz because David Luiz is an experienced player in the Premier League. Thiago Silva has 0 Premier League experience.
Thiago Silva has enough experience in life. He has enough experience. He's played around the world. He's played for his country. I think he's a leader.
Yeah.
He is something that, he will bring a great difference to the mentality in Chelsea.
Possibly, yeah.
He will be a great influence on his partner, whoever he will play at centre back with Thiago Silva. I feel it should be Zuma. I mean, comparing it to the whole Van Dijk-Gomez partnership, where Van Dijk is not the fastest, but Gomez, covers for pace. I just feel, that will make a huge difference. And once that happens, I think Chelsea has a Rudiger also who can fill in that spot. They have an Azpilicueta who will go back to right back, considering that Chilwell is now come in at left back, enough Premier League experience.
Yeah, but also at right back you got Reece James, who's been doing so well. He's probably created he puts in the second most crosses at Chelsea. So I think, but overall, however, I think Chelsea's, built a great squad. What I really want to know is, what would be a fair expectation of Chelsea this season?
I think top 3, nothing less than top 3.
But look, man, you came in the top 4 last season, being a Chelsea fan. You spent 210 million now, and now you're again going to go from 4 to 3. How does that make sense?
But I mean, City came in and spent 300 odd million with defenders and other players, and they still stayed second, right?
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying that, okay, fair enough. I'm not saying that Chelsea is going to win the title, and that shouldn't be the expectation.
They can win the title if they click.
That shouldn't be the expectation. But shouldn't the expectation at least be that when you are in April, when you are in May, Chelsea is somewhere off the title, pushing for the title.
I mean, City and Liverpool are established sides. They've been going at it from the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Chelsea is building right now. I think with the players they've got in, if they click, they are going to be an absolute treat to watch. Absolutely. I mean, being a United fan, I would not want to play them later on in the season when this team has come together, where you have a Ziyech, a Havertz, a Werner banging goals in from everywhere.
Yeah.
You have an N'Golo Kante in the middle. You have all these defenders fit.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they will be able to replace their goalkeeper. So, I mean, I see this side doing very well this season. Lampard, again, I mean, he's not a taskmaster. He is a great coach, a great manager. He knows what to say in front of the press.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job with the team.
I think he's taken the pressure on himself this season by spending so much money. And there's so much leadership in that move.
And he's proved a point which says that even without transfers, he's done so well with the youngsters coming up. Yeah. Your Mason Mounts, your Hudson-Odoi, he's done well. He had a Tammy Abraham stop firing. He brought in a Giroud. Giroud did the job for him.
And he also performed.
Exactly, he did the job for him.
Yeah, but one of the most, I think, which is going to be the signing of the season, if it does work out, is I think Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is absolute phenomenal quality. anywhere up front, and I really rate him so highly. I think that for the longest time, I wanted him to come to Arsenal, but then as an Arsenal fan, sometimes you have to realize that some things are just not possible.
Make him another Mesut Ozil if he comes there.
No. I mean, dude, man, Kai Havertz is I mean, just wait and watch. I think he's...
I've seen he's absolutely great. He's got 12 goals last season. You have a Werner who's got 28.
Yeah.
So there's great quality up front. I am putting my money on Werner for the Golden Boot, to be honest.
Wow.
This season.
Bold, man.
I mean, I saw the highlights of the Brighton game, and I mean, 4 minutes into his debut, he had a goal.
Yeah.
I just feel he's come in early. He's seen the team perform. He spent more time with the team.
Okay, let's talk quickly about these two signings which Brighton have made. They've signed Adam Lallana on a free. They've signed Joel Veltman from Ajax, who has played with Ajax in the Champions League. Both experienced signings, one midfielder, one proper centre back. So, I mean, what do you think about Brighton in this one?
I think Lallana will do well.
Yeah.
Considering that, he was at Southampton. He was good at Southampton. He wasn't the worst at Liverpool. But, I mean, comparatively with the other players, he didn't get that much of a chance, injuries, etc. I think going back to Brighton, one will take that pressure off. And Lallana, for me, is one of those players, one of those few players who's two-footed.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that option of going on to either foot, and he will bring that quality to Brighton, and he will also partner Pascal Gross in the way where he needs it.
Yeah, probably, you're right. And I think that the thing with Lallana is that, he was always a very average player. Under Klopp, he's become, I
always thought he was pretty, he was pretty good quality even at Southampton. But I mean, maybe that was a phase, Southampton, going through that phase where they had these great players coming out. But then, I mean, Lallana to Brighton is a great transfer. Having said that, I don't see them taking anything out of this game.
Yeah, what's your prediction?
I don't know, 3-4.
5-6?
Probably, I hope so. I mean, Werner with 4.
Werner with 4.
Havertz can have 2.
Yeah, I don't know if, I'm really hoping that we can see these new signings play.
Exactly, that's the only thing will they start, will they not start, how fast will they start?
Yeah.
I have a feeling Werner will, Ziyech will, because they've come in earlier. Thiago Silva probably, but Ben Chilwell is still injured. Havertz has just come in.
Yeah.
So it'll probably take some time. But Havertz I think should play quicker.
I think he'll slowly and over a period of time he'll get everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean he would want them to rather come into the Liverpool fixture early.
True.
But I see them steamrolling Brighton and moving on.
Yeah, same here. Another big fixture. Monday night, Sheffield United versus Wolverhampton at Bramall Lane. Wow, man. Both of these sides, Sheffield United and Wolves, have done way beyond their expectation in the last season. Both were fighting for Europe. Both did not make Europe because of unfortunate reasons and because other clubs probably
and some other smaller teams made Europe.
So anyway, moving on. What do you think about Chris Wilder and Sheffield?
I think he's created a very, very solid unit. I think both these sides are very disciplined. They're very strong as a unit.
Yeah.
They both have, their quality players to change games. Yeah. Wolves obviously having a couple more.
Yeah.
I mean, but obviously losing out on Doherty and having Johnny injured. So that might kind of hamper it, but I don't see this game tilting towards one side. I think it's in the balance. Sheffield great at the back, Wolves great at the back. So guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you for watching. Here's a roundup of all the games this weekend. Also, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe and follow us on Instagram. Links in the description below. Join us again soon for the next episode of All Balls. Stay safe.